Have you ever noticed how the same storm can sink one ship and yet push another one forward? Life is like that. One person loses their job and falls apart, blaming the economy, blaming their boss, blaming everything but themselves. Another person loses that same kind of job, and instead of collapsing, they rise earlier, sharpen their skills, and rebuild from scratch. Same event, two completely different outcomes. What made the difference? Not luck, not destiny, it's the mindset. And that's where most of us struggle. We read self-help books, listen to motivational podcasts, set goals every January, and promise ourselves this year will be different. But after a few weeks, we fall back into the same patterns. Sleeping in, procrastinating, scrolling mindlessly on our phones, letting fear or doubt call the shots. It feels like life is out of our control. But here's the truth. It's not life that breaks us. It's how we let our mind respond to life. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow," or "just this once won't hurt"? We bargain with our weakness, and every time we do, weakness wins. Before we realize it, months or even years slip away, and nothing changes. That's why Stoicism feels so brutally honest in today's noisy world. Because it doesn't whisper, "Take it easy." It tells you, "Stop making excuses." Stoicism isn't about being emotionless or cold. It's about learning to stand firm when your emotions try to drag you into chaos. It's about remembering that no matter how unfair the situation, you still hold the power to choose your response. The Stoics taught that your peace, your discipline, your future, they're all in your hands, not in the hands of other people, not in the hands of society, not in the mistakes of your past. And here's the inspiring part. Once you begin to fix your mind, everything else starts to align. Your relationships improve because you stop reacting with anger. Your work improves because you stop letting distractions steal your focus. Your confidence grows because you finally live by your own standards, not by the approval of others. So if you're tired of being stuck, tired of living on autopilot, tired of letting emotions dictate your days, you're in the right place. Today we're going to explore powerful Stoic rules. Rules that don't just motivate for a moment, but transform the way you live. This isn't about philosophy for scholars. It's about practical truths for real people. Fix your mind, and step by step, you'll fix your life. The first rule: silence is armor. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said something you later regretted? Maybe in an argument with your partner, maybe at work when stress was high, or maybe in a heated moment online when you just had to clap back at a comment. We've all been there. Words spill out, and before we know it, they've created damage we can't take back. One phrase, one emotional outburst, and suddenly you've lost trust, respect, or even a relationship. Here's the brutal truth. The more we talk without thinking, the more power we give away. Every unnecessary word is like opening a window for others to peek inside your fears, your insecurities, even your weaknesses. That's why the Stoics called silence a shield, an armor, because silence protects you. It keeps your energy from leaking into meaningless arguments. It keeps your dignity intact when emotions try to take over. And it keeps your strategy hidden from people who might use it against you. Think about how different life would feel if you mastered silence. Imagine being in a meeting where everyone else is rushing to prove how smart they are, and you sit back, listen, and watch. When you finally speak, your words carry 10 times more weight because they are rare and deliberate. Or picture yourself in an argument with a loved one. Instead of matching their anger, you choose silence. That silence isn't weakness, it's strength. Because you're not being dragged into chaos, you're staying grounded in control. And let's be honest, in today's world, silence is rare. We live in a culture of oversharing, social media posts, instant reactions, constant opinions. But here's the twist. The louder people get, the less powerful their voices become. The quieter, more intentional person, the one who doesn't react to every little thing, that's the person who becomes unshakable. Silence also teaches us patience. Not every text needs a reply. Not every insult deserves a comeback. Not every situation requires your opinion. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is to say nothing and let time do the talking. Because silence buys you space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to decide who you want to be before you act. So here's the challenge for you today. The next time you feel the urge to react, pause. Hold your ground. Remember that silence is not emptiness. It's presence. It's power. When you let your silence speak for you, you stop being predictable. You stop being controlled by others. And you start leading your life from a place of calm authority. Silence is not weakness. Silence is armor. And the warrior who wears it cannot be broken. Rule 2. Embrace your fate. Amor fati. Life rarely goes the way we plan. You've probably felt this. Maybe it was losing a job you thought was secure. Maybe it was a relationship falling apart when you least expected. Or maybe it was something small, like traffic making you late on an important day. And in those moments, our first instinct is usually to fight it, to get angry, to complain, to think, why me? But here's the reality. No amount of complaining has ever changed what already happened. This is where the Stoic idea of amor fati, love your fate, becomes so powerful. It doesn't mean you have to enjoy pain or pretend you're happy about setbacks. It means you stop wasting your energy wishing things were different and instead ask, how can I use this? How can I grow from this? When you see life this way, nothing is wasted. Not heartbreak, not failure, not disappointment. Every event, even the painful ones, becomes raw material for building strength. Think about people who've turned tragedy into transformation. Someone loses their job, and instead of giving up, they start a business they'd been dreaming about. Someone goes through heartbreak, and that pain pushes them to finally work on themselves, to discover who they really are. That's amor fati, not just enduring life's storms, but embracing them as necessary chapters in your story. Here's the tough truth. Life will not play by your script. You will face detours, delays, losses. But if you can learn to accept them instead of fighting against them, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become someone who rides the wave instead of drowning under it. And that doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you free. So the next time something doesn't go your way, pause before complaining. Ask yourself, what if this is not happening to me, but for me? What if this is exactly the test I need right now? That shift in perspective changes everything. Because when you embrace your fate, you can never truly lose. You're always moving forward, no matter what happens. Amor fati isn't about surrender. It's about strength. It's about saying, I welcome everything life throws at me, because I will turn it all into fuel. Rule 3, stop seeking approval. Let me ask you, how much of your life has been shaped by other people's opinions? Think about the times you held back from speaking your truth because you were afraid of being judged, or the moments you wanted to try something new, start a business, move to a new city, even just post something online, but you stopped yourself because you worried, what will people think? The truth is, we live in a world addicted to approval. Social media makes it worse. Likes, comments, followers. Every post feels like a performance. Every decision like an audition for someone else's applause. But here's the hard reality. The more you seek approval, the less free you become. You're no longer living your life. You're living the life you think will keep others happy. And here's the twist. Even when you do everything right, people will still judge you. If you play it safe, some will call you boring. If you take risks, others will call you reckless. If you succeed, they'll envy you. If you fail, they'll laugh. Either way, you lose when you let their opinions control your choices. The Stoic mindset flips the script. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need validation to act. You live by what's right, not by what's popular. Because at the end of the day, it's not their voice you go to sleep with. It's your own. And nothing eats away at your peace like knowing you betrayed yourself just to please someone else. Think of the people you admire most. Are they the ones who played small to avoid criticism? Or are they the ones who stood firm, even if it meant standing alone? History doesn't remember the people who blended in. It remembers those who lived with conviction. So here's the challenge. The next time you feel hesitation because you're worried about what others will say, remind yourself, approval is a moving target. You can never chase it fast enough. Instead, anchor yourself in your values. Ask, is this true to me? Is this the life I want to build? If the answer is yes, then move forward boldly, even if no one claps. Because true strength isn't about being liked. It's about being real. And the moment you stop begging for approval, you start living free. Rule 4, Memento Mori. Remember you will die. There's a phrase the Stoics lived by, Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. At first it sounds dark, maybe even depressing. But if you really sit with it, you'll realize it's not about death. It's about life. Because when you remember that your time is limited, every moment becomes sharper, more valuable. Think about how easy it is to waste time. We scroll for hours on our phones, binge watch shows we don't even care about, argue over things that won't matter a week from now. And yet, we act like tomorrow is guaranteed. But here's the truth. Tomorrow is not promised. None of us know how many days we have left. Time is the most precious resource we'll ever own. And unlike money, once it's gone, it never comes back. Memento Mori isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. When you remember you're mortal, you stop sweating the small stuff. That rude comment online, that traffic jam, that missed opportunity, they shrink in importance. Instead, you start asking, what actually matters to me? Who do I want to spend my time with? What kind of legacy am I building? And here's the powerful part. Death gives life urgency. Without it, we drift endlessly, thinking we had forever. But knowing life is finite pushes us to act, to tell people we love them now, not later, to start the project we keep delaying, to forgive, to take risks, to live with purpose. Many people reach old age and realize they spent decades chasing approval, holding grudges, or waiting for the right time. Don't let that be you. Memento Mori reminds us, The right time is now, because every tick of the clock is one less chance to live fully. So here's today's challenge. Imagine that tonight is your last night. Would you live today differently? Would you spend it complaining, scrolling, worrying about what others think? Or would you make it count, connecting, creating, living with gratitude? Memento Mori isn't about fearing the end. It's about fueling the present. Remember, time is both a weapon and a blade. Use it wisely. Rule 5. Discipline over emotions. We all love the idea of freedom, doing what we want, when we want. But here's the paradox. Real freedom doesn't come from following every feeling. Real freedom comes from discipline. Because if you only move when you feel like it, you're not free. You're a slave to your emotions. Think about how many times emotions trick us. You say you'll hit the gym, but when the alarm rings, your mind says, I'm too tired. You plan to save money, but when you feel stressed, you swipe your card for things you don't need. You promise to focus at work, but the moment you feel bored, you grab your phone and scroll for an hour. That's not freedom. That's chains. Discipline is what breaks those chains. Discipline says, I don't care if you're tired, we're getting up. Discipline says, we don't spend what we don't have. Discipline says, we finish what we start. It's not glamorous, it's not always fun, but it's what builds a life you can be proud of. Here's the truth. Emotions are temporary, but the results of discipline last. That workout you didn't want to do, it builds strength for years. That money you saved instead of wasted, it creates security for your future. That hour you spent working instead of scrolling, it moves your dream one step closer. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you're investing in the person you want to become. And let's be real, nobody feels motivated every day. Not the athletes, not the entrepreneurs, not the leaders you admire. What sets them apart isn't feelings, it's habits. They show up rain or shine, good mood or bad, because discipline doesn't ask, do you feel like it? Discipline commands, do it anyway. So if you want real freedom, the kind where you control your life instead of being tossed around by moods, you need discipline, not as punishment, but as a tool. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is having the strength to do what's necessary, even when it's hard. Next time your feelings say, not today, let your discipline say, yes today. Because discipline is greater than emotion. Discipline is freedom. Rule 6. Mistakes are the whetstone. Let's be honest, we all mess up. Maybe you've said the wrong thing in a moment of anger. Maybe you've stayed too long in a toxic relationship. Maybe you've wasted months or years chasing something that never truly mattered. And when those mistakes pile up, it's easy to feel ashamed, to hide them, to bury them deep and hope no one ever notices. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. Mistakes are the whetstone, the sharpening stone of life. Every scar, every regret, every failure can either dull you or sharpen you. The difference lies in how you face them. Most people run from their mistakes. They blame others. They make excuses. They cover the wound with fake positivity. But avoidance doesn't erase the past. It only steals your chance to grow. The Stoic mindset is brutally clear. Own your mistakes. Don't sugarcoat them. Don't deny them. Look them straight in the eye and say, yes, I failed. But this failure will not define me. It will refine me. Think about it. Some of the strongest people you know didn't get there because life was easy. They got there because they learned from the times they fell flat on their face. They turned heartbreak into wisdom. They turned failure into resilience. They turned regret into resolve. And here's the powerful part. When you own your mistakes, shame loses its grip on you. Shame keeps you stuck, whispering, "You're broken." Ownership says, "I'm human and I'm becoming stronger." Those scars you carry, they're not proof of weakness. They're proof you've lived, you've struggled, you've learned. So the next time you're tempted to run from your mistakes, stop. Stand in front of the mirror and face them, not with guilt, but with courage. Ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I make sure this doesn't break me, but builds me? Because mistakes don't ruin you, denial does. Remember this, a sword is useless until it has been hammered, burned, and sharpened. Your life is the same. Mistakes are the fire and the stone. Don't fear them. Use them. Let them sharpen you into who you were meant to be. Mistakes are not a dead end. They are the whetstone, and every scar is proof that you are becoming stronger. Rule 7. Cut the noise. We live in the noisiest time in human history. Notifications buzzing, news headlines screaming, endless emails, texts, ads, podcasts, videos. Every second, something is pulling at your attention. And let's be honest, it's exhausting. You wake up and before you even take a breath, you're already reaching for your phone, scrolling, reacting, consuming. No wonder so many of us feel anxious, restless, and drained. Here's the brutal truth. If your mind is scattered, your life will be scattered too. Focus is the foundation of progress. But in a world that profits from distraction, your attention has become the most valuable currency. And every time you give it away carelessly, to gossip, to pointless scrolling, to noise that doesn't serve you, you're bankrupting your future. Think about it. How many hours of your life have disappeared into YouTube rabbit holes, endless Instagram reels, or arguing with strangers online? And afterward, do you feel stronger, wiser, fulfilled? Or do you feel empty, frustrated, and behind on the things that actually matter? Cutting the noise doesn't mean rejecting the modern world. It means taking control. It means saying, my focus is mine. My mind belongs to me, not to the next notification. It means carving out sacred spaces where you can think deeply, create something meaningful, or simply be present with the people you love. The Stoics understood this long before smartphones. They practiced silence, solitude, and concentration. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman on what's in front of you." He didn't say multitask. He didn't say check your messages every 5 minutes. He said focus, because where your focus goes, your life follows. So here's the challenge. Turn off the noise, not forever, but for long enough to reclaim your mind. Silence the unnecessary notifications. Block out the toxic voices. Spend at least an hour a day with no distractions. Just you and the work, or you and your thoughts. You'll be surprised at how quickly clarity returns, how quickly peace settles in. Because wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers, and you'll only hear it when the noise is gone. Rule 8. Stop negotiating with weakness. Let's be real. Weakness doesn't defeat us in one big moment. It defeats us in 1,000 small ones. It's not usually a dramatic collapse. It's the quiet bargains we make with ourselves every day. Just 5 more minutes of sleep. I'll start eating healthy tomorrow. One more episode before I get to work. At the time, it feels harmless, But every time you negotiate with weakness, weakness wins. And when weakness wins often enough, it becomes who you are. Think about it. What separates the strong from the stuck isn't talent or luck. It's discipline. The strong get up when the alarm rings, even when they don't feel like it. They put down the phone when it's stealing their focus. They walk away from toxic habits instead of giving them another last time. Weakness whispers excuses. Discipline shuts them down. We all know that voice inside. The one that says, you deserve a break, just relax, you'll do it later. And sometimes, yes, rest is necessary, but too often it's not rest, it's surrender. It's betraying the version of yourself you could be. Because every deal you make with weakness is stolen time, stolen potential, stolen progress. Here's the truth most people avoid. Comfort doesn't build warriors. Struggle does. The Stoics understood this. Every moment of discomfort resisted, every temptation overcome, every excuse denied was a victory for the soul. And the same is true for us today. Imagine how your life would change if you stopped negotiating with weakness. If instead of asking, do I feel like it? You said, it's time, no debate. That workout you don't want to do it anyway. That tough conversation you've been avoiding, have it today. That dream you've been postponing, start now. Not because it's easy, but because every time you choose strength over weakness, you're carving out the future you actually want. So here's the challenge. The next time that inner voice says, just one more time, don't argue, don't explain, shut it down. Say, not today, because weakness only has the power you give it. Every small decision matters. Every time you choose discipline over weakness, you're proving to yourself, I'm not here to betray my future. I'm here to build it. Rule 9, control your reactions. Here's something most people never realize. It's not events that break us. It's how we react to them. Two people can go through the exact same situation, but walk away with two completely different lives. One person gets insulted and carries the anger for weeks, replaying the words over and over, letting it eat them alive. Another hears the same insult, shrugs, and moves on with peace. Same event, two reactions, two different worlds. The truth is, no one has the power to ruin your peace unless you hand it to them. A traffic jam doesn't make you furious. You let it. A rude coworker doesn't control your mood. You gave them that control. Life is always going to throw obstacles, unfair moments, and frustrations your way. But those things don't decide your destiny. Your reaction does. Think about how much energy we waste on things outside our control. The weather, the economy, the past, other people's opinions. We get angry, stressed, worried about all of it. But none of that is ours to command. The only battlefield we truly control is inside us. Our thoughts, our emotions, our choices. And that's where real strength lives. The Stoics practiced this daily. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine if you lived this way. Instead of snapping at every inconvenience, you slowed down, took a breath, and chose your response carefully. Instead of giving people the keys to your emotions, you held on to them yourself. That's not weakness. That's power. And here's the key. Controlling your reaction doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means responding with clarity, with calm strength, instead of being yanked around by every little trigger. When you master this, people can't bait you. Circumstances can't break you. and your peace is no longer for sale. So here's today's challenge. The next time you feel triggered, pause. Ask yourself, what part of this can I control? And what part is just noise? Choose your response like a warrior, not a puppet, because life isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond. Your reaction is your power. Guard it fiercely. Rule 10, take action instead of dreaming. Let's be honest. Most people already know what they need to do to change their lives. You know you should exercise. You know you should save money. You know you should have that difficult conversation or finally start the project you've been putting off. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is action. We live in a culture obsessed with planning, dreaming, and visualizing. Vision boards, endless what-if conversations, and waiting for the perfect time. But here's the truth. The world doesn't change because you think about it. It changes because you act. One small step done consistently beats 1,000 ideas left in your head. Think about it. How many people say they want to write a book, start a business, or get in shape? And how many actually do it? The gap between dreamers and doers isn't talent, it's execution. Dreamers wait for inspiration. Doers act even when they're tired, unmotivated, or scared. That's how change happens. Not all at once, but brick by brick, day by day. Here's the trap. Waiting until you feel ready. The truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. Fear, doubt, and discomfort will always be there. But action creates clarity. When you move forward, even in small ways, the fog begins to lift. You learn, you adapt, you grow. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't waste time in endless debate about what a good person should be. Marcus Aurelius said it best, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop talking, start living it. Imagine if you stopped waiting for motivation and just acted. If you wrote 1 page a day, in a year you'd have a book. If you saved a little every week, in a year you'd have a safety net. If you worked on your dream for even 30 minutes daily, you'd be miles ahead of those who are still thinking about it. So here's today's challenge. Whatever you've been delaying, start today. Don't plan for perfect. Don't wait for the stars to align. Take the first imperfect step, because dreams don't build your life, actions do. Stop living in your head. Start building with your hands. The future belongs to doers. Rule 11. Pain is the teacher. No one likes pain. We avoid it. We numb it. We try to escape it. But here's the truth. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback is a training ground for your soul. Think about it. The strongest people you know didn't become that way because life was easy. They became strong because life tested them. A failed business that forced them to learn resilience. A breakup that pushed them to grow wiser about love. A hardship that made them tougher, sharper, more focused. Without pain, none of that growth would have been possible. But most of us spend our lives running from discomfort. We distract ourselves with entertainment when we feel lonely. We overeat when we're stressed. We complain when life feels unfair. But running from pain only makes it chase you harder. The truth is, pain doesn't go away when you ignore it. It transforms you only when you face it. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They didn't pray for an easy life. They prepared for a tough one. They saw every difficulty not as punishment, but as practice, a gym for the soul. Just like your muscles grow through resistance, your character grows through struggle. And here's the inspiring part. Pain can give meaning. When you suffer but keep going, when you hurt but still stand tall, that pain becomes fuel. It shapes your story. It builds your identity. It proves to you that you're stronger than you ever imagined. So here's the challenge. The next time you face hardship, don't just ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is this pain trying to build in me? Because every difficulty is a lesson in disguise. Every setback is an invitation to rise. Pain will visit all of us, but whether it destroys you or develops you, that's your choice. Pain is not here to break you. Pain is here to train you. Every hardship is your soul's gym. Rule 12, do the hard things first. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you spend your life chasing comfort, you will end up weak. Growth doesn't happen in the easy moments. It happens when you choose the hard path first. Think about your day. The hardest tasks, the workout, the tough conversation, the deep work, are the ones most people push off until later. They tell themselves, I'll get to it when I have more energy, more time, more motivation. But later rarely comes. What happens instead? They spend hours on busy work, distractions, or comfort activities, and the hard thing, the thing that would actually move their life forward, gets left undone. The Stoics knew this. They trained themselves to lean into difficulty, not avoid it. Because every time you face the hard thing head on, you build strength, courage, and confidence. Every time you avoid it, you reinforce weakness. Look at any area of life. Health. The hard thing is choosing exercise over the couch, discipline over junk food. Relationships. The hard thing is having the honest conversation instead of bearing problems. Career. The hard thing is focusing on meaningful work instead of hiding in distractions. The pattern is always the same. The hard path is the growth path. And here's the paradox. Once you start doing the hard things first, life actually gets easier. Not because challenges disappear, but because you've grown stronger. The workout that once felt impossible becomes routine. The conversation you once feared becomes natural. The work that once drained you becomes the foundation of your success. Most people want results without resistance, but resistance is the very thing that shapes you. Muscles don't grow without tension. Character doesn't grow without struggle. Greatness is built in the fire of difficulty, not the comfort of ease. So here's the challenge. Tomorrow morning, when you start your day, don't pick the easy task. Pick the hard one, the one you've been avoiding, the one that matters most. Do it first, before the excuses, before the distractions, before weakness has a chance to whisper. Because if you conquer the hard thing early, the rest of the day feels lighter. And if you do this consistently, your whole life changes. Do the hard things first. Comfort kills strength. Discipline builds it. Rule 13, live for others. Here's a truth we often forget in a world that tells us to chase your dreams and focus on yourself. Life is not just about you. Real strength, real meaning comes when your life begins to serve others. Think about it. Some of the happiest, most fulfilled people aren't the ones who hoard everything for themselves. They're the ones who give. The teacher who shapes young minds, the parent who sacrifices for their children, the friend who shows up when it matters most. Serving others doesn't weaken you. It multiplies your strength. The Stoics knew this well. They believed we are all part of one human family. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." In other words, your personal well-being is tied to the well-being of the community. You can be rich, powerful, or successful, but if your life benefits no one but you, what does it really amount to? And here's the paradox. When you focus only on yourself, life feels empty. But when you live for something bigger, life gains depth. Helping a neighbor, mentoring someone younger, using your skills to uplift others, these acts not only help them, they strengthen you. They give you purpose that comfort and pleasure alone can't provide. Look around today's world. Loneliness is at an all-time high. People feel disconnected, isolated, even in crowded cities. And yet the cure isn't more self-indulgence, it's connection, it's service. It's remembering that the human heart was built to give, not just to take. So here's today's challenge. Ask yourself, who benefits from my strength? Who gets better because I'm alive? If the answer is no one, then maybe it's time to change that. Start small. Call a family member. Volunteer an hour. Share your knowledge. Encourage someone who's struggling. These moments ripple outward more than you realize, because true greatness isn't measured by how much you gain, but by how much you give. And when your strength becomes a light for others, that's when your life shines the brightest. Live not just for yourself, live for others. That's where real strength begins. Conclusion. Let's be clear. What we've talked about are not gentle pieces of advice designed to make you feel good for a moment. These are brutal truths. They're not comfortable, but they are powerful. They're the kind of principles that, if you dare to apply them, will forge real strength inside you. Because the truth is, life will test you whether you're ready or not. The question is, will you face it weak or will you face it strong? Here's the challenge I want to leave you with. Don't try to master all of these rules at once. That's just another way to procrastinate. Instead, choose one rule, just one. Maybe it's discipline. Maybe it's cutting the noise. Maybe it's controlling your reactions. Pick the one that speaks to you most right now and live it today, not tomorrow, today. And then repeat it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because greatness isn't built in one massive leap. It's built in small, consistent steps, repeated daily. Remember this. The world won't wait for you to be ready. Opportunities won't pause until you feel confident. Time will not stop until you finally get motivated. Life is happening right now, and the only way to change your life is to start changing your mind. Today. The Stoics left us a blueprint, but they can't walk the path for us. That's your job. Fix your mind, fix your actions, fix your habits, and your life will follow. So here's my final reminder. Stop waiting, stop talking, stop overthinking. Choose strength, choose discipline, choose one rule and live it with everything you've got. Because when you fix your mind, you fix your life. And that's not philosophy, that's reality. And if you found value in this video, if it lit a fire in you, then don't forget, hit that subscribe button, because this is just the beginning, and together we're going to keep growing stronger.